about my brisket. Look at that. What's going on, everybody? So today I got another fun cook going down for you. Today we're going to be doing shredded beef. Going to be doing it using two different types of chuck roast. One's from a local farm, another one's actually from a local Whole Foods. So I'm going to get to see if there's any difference between the two. Struggled to find a good chuck roast lately, so just going to try and see which one is better, if either. Hopefully one of them is, but you know, only time will tell. Going to be making up a lot of beef today, a lot of beef sandwiches for some family coming on. If you haven't seen, I ain't got my apron on today. I got this shirt on, which is obviously Go Be Kind. Go be kind. Definitely in this world today and a lot of things that are going out in the world, I encourage you all to be kind to one another and support one another. Part of my reason for being part of the barbecue community, part of the reason I stay is, again, people that are kind and support one another, and I hope you do as well. So without further ado, let's get into it, and let me show you some tips and tricks that I'm going to use for these cooks.
You ready? Let's go!
Alright, so it's been raining. I don't know. Hopefully that'll end this weekend, but this gives me an opportunity to. This one is actually from Whole Foods. I resealed it because it came in that cheap packaging that they normally come in. This one is from the actual local farmer. So, as you can see, they both look a little different. Won't be too hard to tell apart in the cooking process, which is fine. This one is from Whole Foods, like I said, and this one over here is from a local farmer's. Get this stuff off there. So I will get both these seasoned up. This is the easy process, at least for me. I've done this only once before, so I'm gonna do this again. As I'm gonna use mayo. That's right, you heard me, mayo as a binder for both these, and it seemed to work when I did it before, so I figured it'd probably be okay to do it again. Gonna season these up liberally, and then of course from there we're gonna actually get into getting these on the smoker, get them all smoked up, and go from there. Well, as you can see, I got both of these ready to go. They get the mayonnaise on them, so now I'm gonna actually start with some seasoning. I'm going to start off first with my Gustus Vitae chipotle sea salt. I really enjoy this sea salt. It's got, you know, just a little bit of a bite. It's not too much. And then of course, after I season it with this, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next ones. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, and obviously let me know down in the comments below what you think, especially as we get closer to getting done with this. I'm going to use this smoked prime cut next. I really like this one. This is probably one of my favorite seasonings from Gustus Vitae. I always enjoy using it, and it just adds a nice flavor to really any kind of beef cook that you're doing. So yeah, it's really good. And then one of the things I like to do is, seasoning falls off onto the foil here. I just basically try to go back, especially since it's got that binder on there, using the mayo, and just collect as much of that I can onto the meat. It really works out well. Last but not least, I got this garlic truffle steak. Now I'm just going to use a little bit of this on here. I won't need a lot, but I've obviously used this a few times now, and it's got a nice little flavor profile to it, and I know it's going to do great on this chuck roast. Now I got some other tips and tricks that I'm going to show you. If you haven't already seen before, if you've watched my channel at any length, you'll know that there's a little tip and trick that I'll be using. Now this one's got a bone in it, this one doesn't. So it'll be interesting to see if there's any difference in the flavor profiles as well. So let's go ahead, get over to the cooker. Alright, so now what I'm going to show you is basically how I build my fire for this cook. I've shown it a few different times, but this one I'm going to show again just in case. That way you can kind of see how I'm building the fire for the chuck roast. So let's get into it. Alright, so first thing first, when I use my prime 6 charcoal, I tend to break it up. That's just how I do it, and I think it works better. If you leave them in the logs, you're going to have to find a way to get them started like with a torch. It takes a little bit longer to get these going, but once the prime 6 charcoal does get going, I'll tell you what, it won't stop. It goes fast, and it definitely stays steady. Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm just basically layering this with some post oak chunks in between. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow this cook to continue to get smoke as the charcoal obviously comes down. I'm going to actually, I meant to do this, put these little chunks, these bigger chunks in between here. And then of course I'm trying to build my charcoal around that. So that way, as I need, as the smoke, I need smoke from the wood, it helps out. Alright, so with the prime 6 charcoal, I've kind of got the smoking wood on the outer edges while I'm putting the charcoal kind of in the middle and around. This is going to allow the smoke, the wood to start smoking, somewhere in between the cook, not immediately. That way it gets that good smoke flavor. And essentially I'm just going to build this around there. Keep building. Now I'm going to go ahead and get my old prime 6 charcoal set on top of here, and then we'll get this going. Alright, so some of you have seen this before, but essentially what I do is I take this Duraflame cube, kind of put that right there in the middle. You can see I got some little chunks too of that post oak, which will also help get all this going faster. But you can see kind of have it built out. And then I'm just going to take my old prime 6 charcoal, lay that kind of like right on top of there. That way it's going to both get the old prime 6 charcoal going, as well as hopefully get some of the new prime 6 charcoal. And then we'll get this fire rolling. Well, as you can see, the prime 6 charcoal is rolling. So now I'm going to go ahead and dump this into here. Get the charcoal on top of this pile. Spread it out a little bit. And then we'll get this fire rolling and go from there. Alright, so we got the smoke rolling in there. I'm going to go ahead and get this plate on here. And then we'll go ahead and get the other ingredients added on. Alright, I've already got my water, or some of my water in there, as well as I've added some beef broth and some Worcester sauce. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add some other ingredients. First up is a little bit of this wine we have left over from last night. It's not going to hurt anything. Then I'm going to add in what I got left over, that cherry cordial wine. So next we'll get the grates on here and get the chuck roast rolling. Like I said, we'll see how this goes. Alright, so we got them both on here now. Basically, like I said, we're going in direct smoke. Got that plate down there, got that drip pan underneath that. So this one over here, again, it's got the bone in. This one doesn't. This one's from Whole Foods. This one's from a local farm. So it'll be interesting to see which one turns out. Definitely curious. We got a long cook ahead of us, so definitely stay tuned for that. But like I said, I'm definitely curious to see how this turns out, which one ends up being better, and of course what we end up making with this. Alright, just a quick check in on these chuck roasts. Man, they both look good so far. So far so good. Definitely trying to get these to around a 160 to 168 temp, and just from there then we'll go ahead and get these wrapped and go from there. So far so good, so more to come. Alright, these both, in my opinion, have enough bark on them. They're around the 162 range. I'm gonna go ahead and get these wrapped and get these put into back on the cooker. I'm gonna put some beef broth in there along with some other stuff. So as you can see, I got the pan lined with actually some onions. I also got some minced garlic down there. I'm just gonna go ahead and put some of this beef broth in there, or beef stock, I'm sorry. Get that in there, and then of course just get that a little bit half full, and then of course I'm gonna wrap this in aluminum. Alright, so I got this wrapped in aluminum foil. I'm gonna get this back on the cooker. We'll see what we can get up to, but I'm trying to get this temp up to these chuck roasts, around the 200 mark, and then of course, main thing is just see if they're probe tender. They can go as high as 210, so we'll wait and see how it goes, and then we'll start shredding it. Alright, so we basically have pulled these off now. I'm right around a 200 turn temp, as you can see. Look, probe tender, no problems going in, going out. So this, especially over here, this is this one over here is the one from Whole Foods. This is the one from the farmer. You see, incredible bone pull. And look at that. Yeah, definitely probe tender. So I'm gonna let this rest, get these out of here. Bark on here is really good. Look at that, just easy. And we'll pull these apart, and then we'll have some pulled beef sandwiches. Okay, these little chuck roasts that I smoked, and I just want you to see this, here. Oh my gosh. So this is the one from the farmer's market, as you can see. And as you can tell, this one, let me get a better, clearer picture for you. You can see the smoke ring on it. And it is tender as all can be. Look at that. So, yeah, look at that. Wow, it's really good. Now I'm gonna pull apart this other chuck roast that I got from Whole Foods, or actually the missus got from Whole Foods, I should say. So I'm gonna try this one out, see what this one's like. It's definitely tender. So once again, you can kind of see the smoke ring, excellent smoke ring on that. It's good. But I think the one from the farmer's actually got more of a true beefy flavor. I'm not really sure why. Not that they're both don't taste like beef, but it's just more of a beefier flavor on the one from the farm, the local farm. So I don't know. I'm gonna get these pulled apart and go from there, and we're gonna serve these up. So hope you enjoyed watching this. Hopefully you caught some of the techniques that I've used during this process. Like I said, it was an excellent cook, and it was absolutely fun to do. So stay tuned for more content, and glad you followed along.